Let me pull up this story here. We got from the Post Millennial.
Oh, my.
Joe Rogan and James Lindsay point out how the left smears everyone they disagree with as alt-right. On the latest episode of the podcast, Joe Rogan spoke with James Lindsay about why so many people are deemed alt-right by the left. And the story's about me. So special thanks to James and Joe, because I don't even think they were necessarily defending me, just pointing out facts, just denying this. What happened was this guy, Josh Zepps, who is a statist propagandist in Australia, who really doesn't like me because I've criticized their country, and he makes things up, and boy, is he triggered by me. He said, oh, Tim Pool says these things and blah, blah, blah. And then a few seconds later goes, so these alt-right guys who are, saying this stuff. And then Joe cuts him off and he's like, Tim Pool's not alt-right. You can't just say that, man. That's not true. And he's like, well, I didn't mean. And then he says, I don't think Majid Nawaz is alt-right. I know him, but Tim Pool. So Joe Rogan's talking to James and they end up bringing me up specifically. And Joe's like, I know Tim very well. He's like a centrist. He was a boots on the ground guy for Vice. And then James like, yeah, he was in Occupy. So this is what I think is it shows the lies. It's obvious they're lying. One of the most powerful media shows in the world, Joe Rogan's show, is outright just with no remorse calling out the lies. I think this is a good example of the narrative is breaking before our eyes. I know there's a lot of reasons why we said the narrative is breaking, but here's another really good one. It involves me, so obviously I wanted to highlight it and say thank you to Joe for just being honest and talking about my views and everything. But who's going to believe this anymore?
Well, I was thinking maybe this is alt-right in the sense that it's alternative to the polarized right. It's more of a center.
Alt-right means white nationalists.
That's the problem with
specifically.
That's the problem with the phrase. It shouldn't mean that it's further right than people on the right. It's just an alternative to weird polarized politics.
That's literally not the case.
It just crossed my mind a couple weeks ago.
The Associated Press put out a statement years ago saying the alt-right group that coined the term specifically referenced white nationalist ideology. That's where the term came from. That's what it represents. That's why the left will try to passively smear everyone as alt-right, so they can then add to your Wikipedia page something like Ian's been called alt-right. Then another outlet will say many news organizations have noted that Ian, who's considered alt-right, and then eventually they can just say Ian is alt-right. Then they can then say Ian is a white nationalist and put it on your Wikipedia page. That's the game they play. It's not working anymore. It's falling apart because people are getting sick and tired of it, and they're not scared to call out the bunk media. And you know what it is? As the media ratings collapse, people are getting less scared of being smeared because they're irrelevant.
It's also a way to shut you up. They can't engage you with your ideas. So, like if someone said, "I don't want open borders," well, then you're racist because you don't like Mexican people. But no, because I there's a reason why I don't think this is effective. It's racist, sexist. It's all the things. It's to shut us up because they don't want to have this debate. And people on the left they're not good at debating because they don't get those other ideas coming at them. If you're on the right, you get all the ideas. You watch Colbert, you watch The Culture, you read the news. You're experiencing, even by default, all these different concepts, and you're able to kind of, work with them, talk about them, debate them. But if you're on the left, you're in this bubble area, and you can't debate, so you have to smear.